welcome you inside the McDowell Activity Center on the campus of the University of Mary. Tonight, the Marauders play host to the Upper Iowa Peacocks, who are still in search of their first NSIC victory, losing their last 16 games, including all 14 in the conference. Alongside Corey Brooks, I'm Noah Reed. We thank you for joining us statewide on BEK Prime tonight. And Corey, this UMary team is kind of hitting its stride right at the right time right now as we close in on postseason play. They've won 4 of their last 5. With the worst team in the conference in town tonight, a great chance to make it 5 out of the last 6.
Yeah, it's a bit of deja vu for this Mary team. They did the exact same thing last year, kind of worked through it. The freshman group that's now the big sophomore group made a huge impact. They wound up hosting a playoff game, and that's going to be the theme of the night, is getting ready for the postseason. Both the Mary men and Mary women have a very real chance to do that.
Let's take a quick look at our hashtag People First player matchup presented by Choice Financial. You can find out more about what it means to be People First by visiting choicefinancialgroup.com. For Upper Iowa, she's just a freshman, but Natalie Dinius in spot of Blair Klosterman, who has missed the last 6 games, has been on a roll. She's averaging double figures, the team's second leading scorer. And on the other side, Cassie Askvig has been in double figures the last 3 games, the 6'2 sophomore out of Minot.
Right, as we talk about the then freshman, now sophomores, Cassie's one, and we'll hear the name of the other in, I would guess, under a minute.
UMary in the home whites, Upper Iowa in the visiting navy blue uniforms, and the Peacocks have the first possession of the game. Ball swings all the way around the perimeter. And here's Rosensteel off the ball screen, had it deflected away by Williams, and there's Gabby Bull, another one of those talented sophomores on this UMary team.
That's the one I figured we'd say. I just didn't realize she'd be the very first Marauder to touch the basketball.
Here's Williams. She drives baseline up against the trees, had it deflected away.
I like the aggressiveness, though, by Danny, trying to set the tenor early, make them recognize she's a threat inside the key, as well as obviously from beyond the arc.
Yeah, one of the nation's best three-point shooters at over 41% on the season. Right down the lane, and an easy 2 to get the scoring going here for Upper Iowa.
On the flip side, Mary has to be tighter inside the key. If they come like that all night long for Upper Iowa, they're going to be in great shape.
That was Becca Pearson on the basket, and Cassie Askvig whistled for the travel. So each team now has a turnover. It's a 2-0 Upper Iowa lead just under a minute in. An Upper Iowa team that's 0-14 in the NSIC. They've lost their last 16 games trying to get off the schneid, and that'll help. DePaulo steps out and knocks down the mid-range jumper.
That was as smooth as it gets right there. Basket barely moved, still going up with confidence. Despite the record, that's what you want to see.
She's one of those players that has only scored in double figures twice this year, but both of those games have been 20-plus performances. Kind of one of those streaky players. When she has it going, though, she's dangerous.
A little bit of that all-or-nothing mentality that I think we're seeing a little bit more and more of these days.
Here's Gabby Bull, team's leading scorer for the Marauders, 17.5 per game. Pull-up jumper from the conference logo swishes through.
On the flip side, Gabby expanding her game always makes this Marauder offense so much more dangerous. You know what she can do in the face-up game and right underneath the basket, but when those jumpers start to go, this offense adds a dimension.
Pearson steps through Askvig and answers on the other end. The Peacocks with an early 4-point lead.
Good offensive start for both teams.
Macy Williams, the freshman. Williams lobs to Bull, no backside defense, a lot of contact, but no whistle underneath, and Upper Iowa runs the other way.
Quick double in the key, not there initially, managing to get bodies there, do the Peacocks, it'll be enough.
Deep three-pointer from Gabber, and it was well off. Askvig, the team's leading rebounder at 8.5 per game, top 5 in the conference, rips down her first. Steps into a 15-foot jumper, a clean look, and it's through.
Outstanding recognition by Cassie, knowing there was no defense there, and despite the late closeout, that wasn't going to be enough to deter the talented young Marauder.
Coming off probably her best weekend of the season. Both games last week on the road, she had 20-plus, had 22 against Bemidji State in the win on Saturday night. Marauders have won 3 of their last 4. They swept the weekend series the last time they were in this building, and that doesn't get the kind roll from Gabber. Williams all the way to the cup, goes off the glass and in. The Marauders have tied it at 6.
Mary's working everybody into the key in this one. That's well done by Macy Williams. She's got a shot in there. Danny's got a shot. Nicely done.
Macy Williams, the freshman, over the last 5, just under double figures, averaging about 9.5 per game. Transitioned well from high school to the college game. Pearson, she already has 4 early points. Can't make it 6. A nice contested layup from Askvig.
It's one thing Mary does very, very well, and a ton of credit has to go to Rick Newman. The ability for players, like you said, to make that transition from high school to the collegiate ranks. They play young here.
And Williams, the freshman, lobs underneath to Gabby Bull. 4 points for Gabby Bull, and UMary has its first lead, 8-6, about 4 minutes into the first quarter.
Part of it, too, is those departing seniors from last year, some of the best players in program history. It forces you to play young, but I truly believe many of these players would be getting a ton of playing time regardless, certainly Gabby Bull.
Danny Williams, the lone senior in the starting lineup for UMary, whistled for the foul. It sends Ashley Rosensteel to the free throw line. Second best free throw shooter on the team, 83% entering tonight. Crystal Hearn, Isabel Schmelzer, and Jordan Jossert all check into the UMary lineup.
Early for JJ to come in today. I like the vote of confidence.
Former Division I player last year, played 18 games as a freshman for Marist.
Hearn usually pretty reliably first off the bench for Mary. That defensive stopper.
Crystal Hearn, arguably the best on-ball defender this Marauders team has. And here's Josser quickly into the paint. And a turnover sends it the other way.
And that can be some of those communication issues you get with a young team. Even this late in the season, they'll pop up occasionally.
Just the second turnover of the game for UMary. A really clean game here to start halfway through the first quarter. 3 total turnovers between the two teams. Pearson's jumper, short. And it stays here, last off is Schmelzer, so a fresh 30 for Upper Iowa. Madison Smith inbounding. She just checked in at that last free throw possession ago, and she's wide open for a 3. Tracked down by Denius. That's blocked by Schmelzer, the team's leading shot blocker on the season. Askvig kicks, wide open, Rotunda from the corner. It touched every part of the rim before coming out. And a jump ball whistled. That's Domeyer and Askvig tied up underneath. Alternate arrow keeps it on this end with the Marauders. Tied at 8, 5:01 left in the opening frame.
It was a great pass to find a wide open shot in the corner. It just doesn't fall, but that is a look you will take 1,000 times out of 1,000.
Here's Rotunda. She had a 14-point performance last Saturday in the win against Bemidji. Nice lefty on the baseline for Cassie Askvig. Smith all the way on the baseline. She stepped on it. Second turnover of the game for the Peacocks, and that brings us to our first media timeout. 4:42 remaining here from UMary. The Marauders up by a pair. Halfway through quarter number 1 here from UMary, the Marauders on top by a pair, 10-8 the lead. Let's take a quick look at our Pinky Homes keys to the game. Get the keys to your new custom-built home from Pinky Homes, a family business dedicated to building your next family home. For Upper Iowa, they're one of the worst rebounding teams in the conference. They have to be able to rebound at a high rate tonight. For the Marauders, you know a lot of times what you're going to get out of Gabby Bull and Cassie Askvig. What can the guards do for you? And good start so far for the guard play. Both Williamses as well as Lauren Rotunda getting in on the scoring. And there's Askvig over the left shoulder. She puts it in. She has a game-high 6 already in the first quarter. UMary's lead is up to 4.
Right on cue, you're talking about the strong start for Mary, and that is a high degree of difficulty shot. Cassie drains it.
Here's Haley Martin. Shot clock down to 9 for the Peacocks. Gabber's shot was rejected by Askvig. Hearn the other way, kicks, wide open Jossert for 3, and it's through. A nice start for Jordan Jossert.
Almost a small ball lineup for the Marauders now, and it's working in a big way because you're getting some good post contributions early on from your guard play, and JJ hitting that shot early is big for her confidence. If she gets going, Mary's not losing.
Jossert scoreless in 2 of the last 3 games. She doesn't take long to get in the scoring column for the Marauders, and it's 9 straight now scored by U-Mary. And Askvig clears the rebound. Sophomore steps into a 3-pointer. Got it. Make it 12 in a row for the Marauders, up by 10 with just over 3 to play in the first quarter.
Wow. U-Mary has saved the strong shooting performance till right now. Blowing the lights out here on the Borky court.
Smith all the way down the lane. She's whistled for a travel. 3 starters all check back into the U-Mary lineup. Macy Williams, Lauren Rotunda, and Gabby Bull. You and I talked at that last media timeout, Corey. It's been a long time, maybe first time ever, that Gabby Bull has gone to the bench that early in a game.
Yeah, in the first couple of minutes, and they went to that almost three-point oriented small ball lineup, if you will. Now Coach Newman and staff decided we have this 10-point lead. Let's hammer it home and try and put this thing away as fast as possible.
Rotunda into the paint with 10 to shoot, lobs to Bull, and she goes off the glass. Already 6 points in the first quarter for Gabby Bull, and you said something interesting to me last time we were here, which was 2 weeks ago, and it's not a matter of will Gabby Bull get to double figures, it's a matter of how fast can she do it, how efficiently can she do it.
Without a doubt, her usage rate dictates she's going to get to 10 every night simply because of the number of shots she takes, although today might actually be a little different simply because U-Mary's trying some different things here, and they are working.
Rosensteel couldn't answer on the other end, and there's a whistle on Upper Iowa.
I think ultimately Gabby will get to 10, as she so often does, but with the way Mary is shooting from beyond the arc, that will bring some of that usage to the perimeter, but by that same token, you mentioned efficiency, the most important thing for any team. It's because shots make that much easier an opportunity for Gabby Bull.
Yeah, just 1 time in 19 tries this season has Gabby Bull not reached that double figures plateau. And a whistle down low. That's on the sophomore out of Shell Rock, Iowa, Becca Pearson. Exactly 2 to play in the first quarter. U-Mary by 12. It's a U-Mary team that's playing its best basketball this season, winners of 3 of its last 4. Rotunda slices down to the basket. Here's Smith, defended by Williams. Lob into Pearson, working on Askvig. 6 early points for Becca Pearson.
One element, too, I think that's at play for Mary, particularly for the older players. Macy doesn't count. She wasn't here yet. This was the playoff game last year in the NSIC tournament. It was U-Mary hosting Upper Iowa. Came down to a last-second shot. Upper Iowa got the win. So perhaps some of the veterans, especially these sophomores, and in particular Danny Williams, looking for a little bit of revenge against UIU.
That turnover was on Gabby Bull, just the 3rd for U-Mary in this first quarter. That basket from Becca Pearson, a possession ago, put an end to a 14-0 run for the Marauders. U-Mary still up by 10, though. Just over 60 seconds left in the opening quarter. DePaulo step back with Bull in her face, too strong. And the senior Danny Williams there for the defensive rebound. Askvig drives baseline, lots of contact, she got it to go. Talk about a high degree of difficulty, and that's already 11 in the game for Cassie Askvig.
Yeah, no matter what Mary does right now, they are not missing, and you have to be careful on those shots because ultimately they're not the ideal look. When you're making them, it's great.
Askvig's been in double figures now 4 consecutive games. She's averaging more than 20 points in the last week and a half or so. About a second difference between the game clock and shot clock. Danny Williams lets it fly early, and the conference's second best three-point shooter connects.
They can't miss. They're on pace to score 100.
25-10, UMary. The largest lead of the game. It's 15. 4 to play in the opening quarter. Dinius, nice defense underneath by Rotunda. And that brings an end to the opening quarter, and UMary was nearly flawless. The Marauders up big. It's 25-10 after one quarter. Tonight's game on the BEK Broadcasting Network, sponsored by Farmers Union Insurance, Dakota Community Bank and Trust, the North Dakota Firefighters Association, and the University of Mary. UMary might have had its best quarter of the season in that opening quarter, Corey. They're on pace to score 100. 25-10, the lead after one quarter. Shot 67% from the field.
Yeah, that was insane. And when you factor in the threes as well, the degree of difficulty on the interior, that was the best quarter Mary's played in an offensive standpoint, and their defense was pretty good as well.
2 of 3 behind the three-point line, a 3 apiece from Danny Williams and Cassie Askvig. DePaulo spins into the lane, off the heel of the rim, and Williams skies for the rebound. Hearn hops through 2 defenders, and there's a body foul. First of the quarter here on Upper Iowa, about 30 seconds in. Bull has 6, team's leading scorer, 17.5 per game. Had the shot altered, but she gets her own offensive rebound. Didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock still winds down to 15.
Yeah, still a lot of time.
Rotunda working on the much taller Pearson, couldn't get it to go. Here's Natalie Dinius, team's second leading scorer, more than 10 per game. She had a scoreless first quarter. I think one thing about this UMary team too, Corey, is they are set for a while. 4 of the 5 starters on this team, underclassmen, but they're just so seasoned. Macy Williams, a freshman, has started every game since she stepped on campus, and the same can almost be said about Gabby Bull, Lauren Rotunda, and Cassie Aspig, just sophomores, but it seems like they've been around for 2-3 years already. Yeah,
there's experience as any sophomores in the conference, and I would argue in the country, simply because, like you said, the second they got to campus, they were playing, they were going at it with some top flight competition, and it really will create this transition opportunity for Mary, similar to what they had last year, with a core group of seniors who can really shepherd you through that conference schedule. Ultimately resulted in a home playoff game. Didn't go the way they wanted, but still a strong season.
Gabby Bull was the NSIC Freshman of the Year last year. Lauren Rotunda was also on the all-freshman team, as Williams now has 5 in the game after that bucket. Lead is up to 19 for the Marauders. 2 minutes gone, second quarter. Smith swings to DePaulo. Got the 3 ball to go, her second of the game.
She has remained aggressive, and they are going to need her in a big way to try and mount now what's already a pretty sizable comeback.
Just the 4th turnover of the game for UMary. Some miscommunication there between Williams and Rotunda. Gives it right back to the Peacocks. Upper Iowa shooting just 26% from the field, 5 of 19. Shot clock to 5 for the Peacocks. Aspig swats it out of bounds, so Upper Iowa has just 2 seconds left on this inbounds play.
Inbound from the side as well, not the baseline, which matters in terms of trying to get a quick shot.
DePaulo with Askvig in her face, well short, and a shot clock violation. The 5th turnover for Upper Iowa, and the defense has been stingy here in the first quarter, plus 3 minutes for UMary.
They have, and that's a good job by Cassie to get a quality contest up without fouling, because a foul there is bad.
UMary, one of the best defensive teams in the conference. They allow just 63 points per game, but they turn it over, and Upper Iowa back out on the run. Dinius, baseline, gets her own offensive rebound. And she is 0 for 5 to start, the team's 2nd leading scorer on the season.
Credit Mary for the most part on the interior. A bit of good luck combining with being in the right place at the right time. This works well.
Rotunda wanted a whistle, didn't get it. DePaulo into the paint. Here's Pearson, has 6 already. Askvig does a nice job down low. Williams, pull up, 15-footer from the elbow, rattled in and out.
Great idea, though. Danny never quitting on any shot opportunity, and she almost made the most out of that one.
And an and one. Pearson now has a team high 8 after that field goal. A season ago as a freshman, 4 points was her season high. She's had double figures 4 times this year. She's another one of those players, we talked about a few of them on UMary, but another one of those where your freshman year may be a little bit of a struggle, but then you just make such a jump, such an improvement. She's one of those here as a sophomore. Yeah,
the transition ordinarily really comes in that second year. There's a reason a lot of players don't play at all their freshman year or have very limited minutes. UMary is kind of the exception to that rule. It's worked very well for them. Will continue to do so for the next 3 years.
Pearson can't complete the 3-point play, but Upper Iowa is on a 5-0 run, and that's a turnover. Lauren Rotunda whistled for the charge, and Casey Miles, the redshirt junior, just checked into the game at that whistle and immediately makes her presence known defensively.
Yeah, good job. Just set her feet. A little bit over-aggressive there on the UMary side. That can happen when everything's going your way. You think, what can we do wrong? It can look like that. Still, Mary up by a couple touchdowns.
Second-year head coach Micah Thompson hasn't been shy about putting Miles into the lineup. She was a medical redshirt last year, missed the entire year, missed the first half of this season. The first game she played was just last weekend. She's only played 2 games, but she's averaging 16 minutes per game. They're throwing her into the fire right away.
Yeah, you make sure a player's fully ready to go. You never want to rush things, especially for a young player, but once they're ready, and you have to almost make up for lost time on the jump, and ultimately, that's what they're trying to do, and it's tough for Upper Iowa. They've had some injuries as well. Going through it again right now makes it that much more difficult for a young team to really make that next stride.
The alternate arrow keeps it here with UMary, but a couple back-to-back nice defensive possessions for Upper Iowa.
UIU, a team last year, it was right in the heart of the NSIC conversation. Taking a step so far this year backwards, but still plenty of time to turn things around.
Askvig whistled for a double dribble.
Cassie didn't see the official signal. She's like, what? Well, oh, okay. All right, fine. She's had a really good game so far. The quiet MVP, or not so quiet.
Yeah, she's on pace to get a double-double almost before halftime. 11 points, 6 rebounds for the sophomore.
Really good interior defense, too. Case in point.
Does it again, alters the shot down low of Domeyer.
She has been the best player on the floor.
She has the ball in the corner now, drives baseline, slices through the defense, couldn't get it to go, just a little too strong.
That athleticism, though, is on display. Just missed it, but again, that's a quality look. Ultimately, you emphasize process over results in the early going of any basketball game.
Another turnover on Upper Iowa, their 7th of the game, 4:27 left before halftime. UMary up by 14. Welcome back inside the McDowell Activity Center on the campus of the University of Mary. The Marauders up by 14, 29-15. About 4.5 minutes left before halftime. And You want to know how good of a start UMary got off to? They haven't scored a field goal in almost 4 minutes. They're still up 14 with 4 minutes to go before the break.
Yeah, it's a nice way to really give yourself some padding. Certainly can't get too comfortable, though. No basketball game has ever been won in the first half.
Kaylee Hinson, the redshirt freshman out of Wisconsin, just checked into the UMary lineup for the first time.
Okay, I probably shouldn't say that. Most basketball games have not been won in the first half. I'm sure there are some big college versus tiny college that maybe have gone that way.
Askbig working down low on Haley Martin, couldn't connect.
We certainly have seen some high school games that have been drawn short at half.
Martin rattles in and out.
Good passing, though, by UIU.
Askbig had it poked away, and it was last off of her foot the other way. That's one thing that Upper Iowa, down by 14, has still done really well. They've forced UMary into 8 turnovers already and still have 3:40 before halftime, well on pace to get to double-digit turnovers before the halftime break.
Yeah, the thing is, they haven't really been able to parlay them into buckets, and points off turnovers, almost as important as turnovers. Still, though, you're right. Active hands, active feet, it's made a difference.
Yeah, this Upper Iowa team is worst in the NSIC at scoring the basketball, just over 53 points per game. Eight to shoot for the Peacocks. Josser leads Bull up ahead on the leak out all the way to the rack. Couldn't get it, and there is a whistle, though, a late whistle.
Ooh, that will not have the Peacock bench thrilled. Perhaps justifiably so. Almost could have waited there just a beat to get Gabby that lead pass.
I think if you saw the look on her face there on that replay, she thinks she got away with one. She'll take the 2 free throws nonetheless.
Oh, yeah. To give her that extra second, obviously you move faster without the ball than with it. Might get that extra bit of separation. Ultimately, may not matter if she hits this, but a chance to hit it from the field. That works too.
She's now in double figures with 10. 6th straight game she's been in double figures, and 19 out of 20 on the season. And that also puts an end to a 5-minute streak without scoring yet. They still have Upper Iowa more than doubled, 31-15 with 3:09 left.
Turned into a defensive slugfest in quarter number 2. After the Marauders really got on their horse in the opening stanza.
Yeah, they were on pace to score 100 after one quarter. 25-10 was the lead after the first 10 minutes. And that's Domeyer, the freshman out of Iowa, whistled for the travel. UMary, we mentioned, has cooled off from the field, yet they're still shooting 52%, holding Upper Iowa to 24, and there's a whistle before the shot. That is the 5th of the quarter, though, on Upper Iowa, so regardless, Gabby Bull is headed to the free throw line for 2 freebies.
Good positioning by UIU. You get the 2 bodies down there to try and cover Gabby in the key. She makes it irrelevant.
Second team all-conference selection a season ago as just a freshman, misses the first free throw. Hits the second, she splits the pair, UMary by 17. She's top 3 in the NSIC at scoring the basketball, 17.5 per game, and also field goal percentage, shooting just over 50% from the field. But when a majority of your shots come within 6 to 8 feet of the basket, you probably should be shooting around 50%.
Sure. It'd be interesting as her career develops. You might see that field goal percentage actually go down.
Because she advances, can step outside and shoot it. Absolutely.
And that would actually be much better served for her game. That's the next step in the evolution of Gabby's game.
Henson's first field goal attempt tonight off the mark. Yeah, if she adds that to her game, she can already step out and hit that 12, 15-foot jumper. You get her to step out into the perimeter, though. I don't know how you can stop her if she can have everything.
No, and she works on that, too. You see it every practice, every shoot-around. She's trying to develop that three-point game and the modern form of basketball where the center shoots those threes. But even a continued refinement of her mid-range game would be a big step forward, and that's, I think, what Coach Newman and company very much want to see from her for the remainder of this year, and especially as she steps forward into being an upperclassman for this Marauder team.
Domeyer off the glass, gets the kind roll.
Sweet take, generated a bit of space, enough to put a shot up, bring it home.
First field goal make for the Peacocks in over 3.5 minutes, pulls them back within 15. Aspig to Williams. Aspig had it poked away, bodies to the floor. Rosensteel comes away with it, and a jump ball is whistled. Alternate arrow gives it to the Peacocks. Under 90 seconds left before halftime.
Good job by Aspig just to force the jump ball there. Upper Iowa was trying to hold on to possession. And they kind of will here. No timeout.
Micah Thompson calls the timeout. Peacocks trail by 15. Reminder that tonight's game on the BEK Broadcasting Network, sponsored by Farmers Union Insurance, Dakota Community Bank and Trust, the North Dakota Firefighters Association, and the University of Mary. Marauders show full court press for the first time tonight. 1:23 left before the break, and they get rewarded with the turnover. Marauders up by 15, a chance to extend that. Here's Aspig at game high 13 after she goes off the glass and in.
Now you have to wonder how much more of the press will we see in half number 2. Also, that's probably lead dependent for Mary.
Under a minute to go before halftime. 34-17. Marauders have the Peacocks doubled up. Dinius, a scoreless first half so far, and it continues. She's 0 for 7 from the field.
She's had a tough day, and she has not had a lot of easy shots. Continued quality contests by Mary have really made a difference for the Marauders. An outstanding defensive quarter to really supplement what was that blistering first.
Rotunda whistled for a charge. Yeah, just a touch on Natalie Dinius, just a freshman out of Minnesota, and she started the last 6 ever since Blair Klosterman went out to injury. She's come into the starting lineup and has been in double figures in 4 of those 6 games, averaging 12 points per game. Tonight, a little bit of a struggle. Shot clock and game clock virtually the same, so Mary can nearly save for the final shot before halftime, up by 17. Six to go. Aspig, step back, elbow jumper is true. 15 in the first half for Cassie Aspig, and that brings us to the break. Mary matches its largest lead of the game, up by 19 as we head to the locker room. A first half controlled by Mary finds the Marauders up by 19, 36-17, trying to win their 4th conference game in the last 5 tries. We thank you for joining us statewide on BEK Prime tonight. Noah Reed and Corey Brooks on hand as we welcome you into the Farmers Union Insurance halftime report. Let's take a quick look around the region presented by the North Dakota Firefighters Association. Want to be more than your 8 to 5? Visit ndfirefighter.com to learn more about becoming a volunteer firefighter. A lot of the top teams in the conference enjoying a weekend at home. Augustana, you see on the bottom left of your screen, best in the conference, ranked 12th in the nation. They've lost just 1 game in the NSIC this season. They play host to Minnesota Duluth tonight. Northern State and MSU Moorhead, the 2 teams that are in the top of the North Division, Mary's division, also at home. MSU Moorhead playing host to Southwest Minnesota State, and the Wolves are at home against Sioux Falls. Minot State also at home tonight. You can see the Beavers right here on BEK Prime. Myself and Corey will be on the call for that one. They'll take on this Upper Iowa team that you are seeing here tonight at Mary. And then don't forget, part 2 of our doubleheader, Upper Iowa and Mary on the men's side, immediately following this game right around 8 o'clock. That's your look around the region. We took you through the region, through the NSIC, and now we have a chance to take a look ahead about what's coming up on the BEK Broadcasting Network here in the next few days or so, presented by John Starlakis Incorporated. JSI celebrating more than 50 years of balancing progress with perspective for communications providers. Tonight, of course, you're watching Game 1 of our doubleheader, Upper Iowa and U-Mary. Tomorrow, we travel up to Minot State. You see this Upper Iowa team again, 4 o'clock women's, 6 o'clock men's, the tip-offs on those two doubleheaders. Saturday as well, immediately following that doubleheader, Shiloh Christian and Stanley, two top 10 teams in the state at the Class B ranks, including Stanley, number 1 in the state. That's on at 8 o'clock. So full day of hoops statewide here on BEK Prime. 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock should be 3 really good games. And then Tuesday we continue on with the high school basketball next week. Davies at Fargo North. Girls and boys doubleheader at 5:45 and 7:30. Some EDC basketball can be seen right here on BEK Prime. We'll step aside right now during our Farmers Union Insurance halftime report. The Marauders up by 19 here at home against Upper Iowa. A hot shooting first half and some stingy defense has led the Marauders to a 19-point lead. Shot 54% from the field in the first half. They held Upper Iowa to 7 for 28, just 25%. And Corey, even a 5-minute stretch in that second quarter where U-Mary went without scoring a field goal, they've had a commanding lead nearly the entire game.
Yeah, they've done a really good job, and it was the definition of a balanced effort. And it just so happened to really be divided up at the quarter break. In that first quarter, they were unbelievable offensively. Second quarter, unbelievable defensively. Usually when you combine those two, you don't see it quite as transparently as that to start with, but whenever you find that mix, they did, you put yourself in such an outstanding position. It's exactly where they are right now. A 19-point lead. You lead by more than they have. That's always good, and it's exactly where the Marauders are going to be to open up this third.
They held Upper Iowa to just 7 second quarter points to take a 36-17 lead. We would like to thank both of our high definition sponsors tonight, Piper's Auction and Realty. You can give them a call at 877-700-4099 or visit them online at pipers.com for a free consultation, as well as NISC delivering information technology solutions and services that are member and customer focused, quality driven, and value priced. And as we're speaking of high definition, it became official yesterday. If you are watching on Midco, BEK Prime in the western part of North Dakota, that has become a new high-definition channel. You can tune in to 609. That's channel 609 for high definition of statewide action across BEK Prime. Step aside here just quickly before we come back for second half action. Marauders by 19 at the break. Noah Reed and Corey Brooks on hand. Start of the second half between U-Mary and Upper Iowa, an NSIC battle. It's Marauders basketball out of the break, up by 19. Quickly into the sophomore Lauren Rotunda. Shot was altered, and DePolo rips down the defensive rebound. First possession of the third quarter for the Peacocks. They shot just 25% from the field in the first half. Nice defense from U-Mary, and it continues. DePolo misses the deep two.
Had a chance there, a bit of space, didn't fall for her. She had a good shooting start for UIU, about the only Peacock that did. She'll have to carry that momentum over here to half number 2.
U-Mary on the other end shot 54% from the field in the first half, polar opposite compared to the shooting of Upper Iowa, and it continues. Danny Williams, the conference's second best three-point shooter, knocks down her second three of the game. She's got 8 points.
Yeah, she's feeling it today, off to a great start. Couple threes, that 2 as well on the interior. A versatile game from Danny Williams.
DePaulo the other way, up and under, got Gabby Bull to jump by but couldn't connect. 22 points is the largest lead of the game for the Marauders.
Cassie had a chance to catch Gabby in rhythm there.
Rotunda step back, nothing but net.
Yeah, sometimes don't matter.
That's the first field goal of the game for Lauren Rotunda, her first 2 points.
Not a high volume scorer, but she does a good job when she takes those shots.
Been in double figures the last 3, averaging about 13 per game in that stretch, but a lot of other scorers getting it done tonight for U-Mary. Askvig with the block is one of them. She has a game-high 15 as well as 8 rebounds, already a near double-double. Macy Williams. And she tracks down her own rebounds. Fresh 30 for the Marauders, up by 24 in the first couple minutes of the third. Here's Bull. And one.
Picture perfect for Gabby Bull right there. Patient, puts the ball on the floor once, but doing so with purpose, getting her own rebound. Brilliant.
Bull completes the three-point play. She's got 14, just one shy of teammate Cassie Askvig for game high. We saw this full court pressure at the end of that first half, and they had a turnover right away. They get one here. You wondered how much that might come into play in the third, and they might try to do that just to bury this Upper Iowa team
Without
early.
a doubt. They are really going to try and put this thing away, and it's working, so why get away from it?
Askvig. Bull there, offensive rebound. A lot of contact, no whistle. Danny Williams too strong on the layup. And that was last off of Upper Iowa. Kicked off the foot of Natalie Dinius. It stays here with UMary.
It's a mental mistake there for UIU, and that can happen. When you reach this point in the game, you're frustrated, you're in full-on comeback mode, and it becomes very difficult to stay grounded doing the basic things on the basketball court. Meanwhile, it's a chance for Mary to go pedal to the metal.
UMary has scored the first 8 points of this third quarter. They led by 19 at the break. It's up to 27. Pass deflected. That's probably one thing they wish they could change from the first half. They turned it over 10 times, so that's number 11 on the game for the Marauders. Here's Gabber. Lobs into the post. Domeyer. Spins around Bull. Contested. Askvig works in the post. Shot was deflected. 3.5 minutes gone, third quarter. UMary up by 27. Peacock still looking for their first points of this second half. Here's Miles, just her third game of the season. She sat out the first half with a knee injury. Domeyer to work on Bull. Too strong. Macy Williams clears it. Has a 2-on-1 the other way. She leads the break, bounces to Rotunda, and she's headed to the free throw line for 2 free throws.
Really outstanding possession by Macy Williams. Ultimately doesn't end in a make from the field, still get 2 free throws, but she waited as long as possible and then dropped a dime and a half, 15 cents out of the hands of the freshman. Really, really well done.
She's gotten better as the year has gone on,
Yeah.
as do most freshmen, but 4 assists for Macy Williams in that first half and just distributing the ball really well, and that's going to happen when you got players like Askvig and Bull and Rotunda, Danny Williams, all the shooters in the world.
Yeah, you get more comfortable with your teammates, with the college game in general. It makes a huge difference. You came in as just a pure shooter and has now added some extra elements to her game and really continues to cement herself at that one spot going forward.
And that's the first bucket of the third quarter for Upper Iowa. It's from Emma Gabber. Rotunda lobs to Schmelzer. First bucket of the game for the junior out of Wisconsin.
That's what I love about Rotunda's game. We talk about how she's not necessarily a high-volume scorer. Done a really good job of it lately, but has some other elements that she brings to the table, and that's so true of a lot of these UMary players, including Isabel Schmelzer.
Rosensteel spun her way to the basket. 1-on-2, numerical disadvantage, and Askvig brings it out. Schmelzer again. And a double dribble whistled on Miles. out front. 13th Upper Iowa turnover of the game. 4:57 left in the third. U-Mary has expanded the lead to 29. Halfway through the third, U-Mary has taken a 19-point halftime lead up to 29 in the first 5 minutes of the third, leading 48-19. Tonight's game on the BEK Broadcasting Network, sponsored by Farmers Union Insurance, Dakota Community Bank and Trust, the North Dakota Firefighters Association, and the University of Mary. Just a mental mistake that time out of the out-of-bounds play. And a U-Mary turnover gives it right back to Upper Iowa. Rosensteel baseline. Gabbers spins around Hearn, had it poked away by Schmelzer. And that whistle comes on Kaylee Henson, the redshirt freshman. Shot clock was winding down for the Peacocks. They get a fresh one after the foul. Off glass and in for Domeyer, the freshman center. Coming off a double-figure performance. She had 10 against Wayne State last Saturday night, her first double-figure game since back in December. And now she pokes it away, the steal on the other end.
And that's where they may have some success if you're UIU. With Gabby out, there's some room to operate down there with that small ball lineup, though Schmelzer makes it hard.
Nice cutting basket. Ashley Rosensteel cuts baseline, gets it to go off the window, and the Peacocks have scored the last 4 in the game.
Yeah, they're starting to play well. And just like that, Gabby Bull immediately ready to check back in to make sure there's no spurtability here for UIU. But they're starting to find their rhythm offensively. Like you mentioned, they can be streaky.
Jossert's three was short. Henson dives, nice hustle, but she's the last one to touch it. Gabby Bull and Macy Williams check back into the Marauders lineup. Madison Smith and Courtney Schnorr into the Peacocks lineup. 3.5 to play in the third. Marauders up by 25. But Upper Iowa has been able to trim the lead down the last few possessions. They've scored on each of their last 2 trips offensively. First touch of the game for Schnorr. She works on Gabby Bull, and Bull rips away the defensive rebound. 7th rebound to go along with her 14 points. Williams lobs into Bull. 12 to shoot. Hearn left alone. 3 ball. Way too long. Schmelzer's there. Dumps to Gabby Bull.
This is a different lineup than we usually see for Coach Newman. Schmelzer and Bull both down in the key. And there you can see the potentially devastating effect that duo can bring.
That might change. There are 3 Marauders at the scores table set to check in the next dead ball, but it certainly worked on that last possession.
For sure.
Gabby Bull now a game-high 16, 6 of 9 from the field for the sophomore out of Minot, and a kick ball with 9 on the clock. Schmelzer, Hearn, and Jossert to the bench. And now it's the starting 5 for U-Mary back in. They might have sensed that a little bit. We talked about Upper Iowa. It scored on a few back-to-back possessions. Get the starters back in. Keep this game where it's at, up by 27.
Yep, and again, Coach Newman does a great job managing his rotations. The whole staff does. So you saw Gabby come in first. She's played less minutes today, so she gets out there before the rest of that starting wave, and now they're back in full force.
Smith spins into the lane and throws it away.
And I'll be curious if that's something they want to do a little more of going forward. Keeping Gabby a little more well-rested for those final minutes. When the other team's legs start to get out from underneath them, you bring in the power hammer that is Gabby Bull. That can make a real difference as opposed to trying to really ratchet up that usage rate in the first few minutes of a ball game.
Tie-up gives it back to Upper Iowa, and not only that, but I think, too, it's the point in the season, too, where your legs might be feeling that way as just a whole. And still 3 weeks left in the regular season before you hit postseason. When you hit postseason, you know, you want to be in peak performance, ready to go. You might see lesser minutes for a Gabby Bull or a Cassie Askvig here down the stretch in the regular season.
Without a doubt. I think especially when the game script looks like this, we'll see plenty of that in the fourth.
Schnorr against Bull, got it to crawl over.
Very well could have been an and one. Gabby kind of came down there defensively. Not an easy one, but well done nevertheless.
First bucket of the game for Courtney Schnorr. Still a 25-point advantage for UMary. Askvig hops into the paint. Floater goes.
Cassie's had that floater game working today as well as any point this season. It has really been there today. She has made it look easy. Make no mistake, it is not.
17 and 10 for Askvig. That is her 6th double-double of the season. Stays here. The official said it was deflected on the shot. .111 left in the third. Pearson had 8 first-half points, hasn't scored here in the third, and she can change that going to the free throw line.
Trying to emulate a little bit of what Cassie Askvig has done. Driving in, going for the spin and the float. And the official's whistle will save UIU there. Give them a chance at 2 free throws. Clean third quarter, a couple fouls each.
Yep. Pearson hits both, 5th time this season. She's been in double figures, a team high 10 for the sophomore. 60 seconds left in the third. Bull has great positioning. That's Rosensteel who came over to double, and Gabby Bull heads to the free throw line with 51.6 to go in the third.
All smiles for Gabby Bull is, like you mentioned, UMary recognizing that run by UIU, going down to option A. It's working well.
Averaged 15.6 rebounds per game just last year as a freshman, on her way to the conference's freshman of the year. She's got 18 and 7 tonight. A jump ball whistle. Danny Williams, the senior, gets in there to tie that up with Ashley Rosensteel. Arrow gives it to UMary. 11 seconds the difference between the game clock and the shot clock here in the third. Token pressure put on by Upper Iowa. The Marauders easily break through it by the dribble of Lauren Rotunda. Final set play here, the third for UMary, trying to extend the 27-point lead. Danny Williams, 4 to shoot for the Marauders. And she had her pass intercepted. Final 10 to go here in the third. Rosensteel to Smith, 3 on the clock, all the way down the lane, and couldn't get it to go. It brings us to the end of the third. UMary 54, Upper Iowa 27. Final 10 minutes after this here on BEK Prime. We head to the fourth. It's been all UMary tonight here on BEK Prime. The Marauders up 54 to 27. The hot shooting has continued. 49% from the field for the University of Mary, and they have opened this one up with just 10 minutes to go. One of those full team effort tonight, Corey. Lauren Rotunda just 4 points, but you look down the rest, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block.
Yeah.
Just, of course, you've got Askvig and Gabby Bull, 18 points, 17 points respectively, but really everybody has chipped in tonight, and it can show on the scoreboard.
It is, and it's one of those days where you see the depth of this UMary roster. Like you mentioned, you've got your big two in the Magic duo from the Magic City, but ultimately you've seen versatility, you've seen a varied skill set across this Marauder roster, and as they continue to garner experience both this season and going forward, it bodes really well for this team.
DePaulo, the graduate student out of Brazil, to the free throw line. She's at her third different university, played for New Mexico Junior College for a year, Utah State for 2 years, and this is her one and only year here with Upper Iowa. She can't hit either free throw. Bull in the short corner. Extra pass to Danny Williams. 9 to shoot for the Marauders. Williams, the freshman, in and out.
That was really good defense by UIU. That extra pass looked like it was going to be wide open, and the Peacocks managed to shut it down with just one defender.
The lowest season output that Upper Iowa has had this year is 32. They need just 5 here in the fourth to make sure this isn't their lowest scoring total of the season, and make it only 3 after DePaulo goes off glass and in.
Meanwhile, for Mary, even if they continued that hot, scorching start they had in the first quarter, and for the most part they have, they cannot put the highest total against UIU this year. That was a really good Augie team who had 102.
Yeah, 102 to 55 last Friday night, Augustana. They're ranked 12th in the country, and they looked every bit that way against this Upper Iowa team last week. The three-pointer on the other end for Cassie Aspik gave her 20 in the game, and UMary is up by 28. Bull slices into the paint, and she's wrapped up, headed to the free throw line. Two free throws coming from Gabby Bull. She has a chance to get to 20, as Aspik did a possession ago with that 3.
That physical moment on the inside immediately brings Schmelzer to the scorer's table. She'll check in at the next opportunity to take Gabby out. Give her a bit of rest. Like we were talking about, no reason to utilize one of your critical players. Try and save those legs when you can.
Yeah, Bull now has 20. She checks out as Isabel Schmelzer checks in, and that's one part of Gabby Bull's game that's gotten a lot better too, is at the free throw line. Last week in the win against Bemidji State, she went 10 of 14, hit a few clutch ones down the stretch. Today, she's 8 of 9 from the free throw line.
I think that was coming out of last year to this year, the biggest step she had to take. Obviously, each year you want to try and set one improvement goal, and for Gabby it was progressing in the free throw game while maintaining that post presence. Now she'll try and supplement that with even more, and the possibility is really endless.
Lead is 30 for UMary. Largest it's been with 8 to go. Williams for 3. Here's DePaulo. She has 7. And a hand check whistled on Schmelzer. First foul in the game for the junior. Also the first for UMary in the quarter.
Now UMary is going to start to get some of their younger players in. Up 30. You get a chance to bring in Sawyer Klug.
Klug checks in for the first time, senior out of Washington. Smith attacks baseline, and Williams was able to slap it off her knee. 17th Upper Iowa turnover of the game.
Klug obviously not one of the younger players by years, but in terms of playing time, though she got some last year, brings an added dimension to this offense when she comes in.
Aspvik's got 22.
A lot of dimensions to the offense when Cassie's in. She has been so good today. One of her best games of the year.
9 for 13 from the field, a double-double. She has 12 rebounds to go along with those 22 points.
And an outstanding defensive rating.
Yes. Schmelzer whistled for back-to-back fouls on 2 straight possessions. Vernon Josser checked into the UMary lineup. And that might be the day for Cassie Aspik, and if it is, well done to her. 22 and 12, a pair of blocks as well. That was Pearson with the spin. She's got a team high 12.
Yeah, it was not a whole lot JJ could do right there. Simply got bullied down, and that'll happen sometimes when you get that mismatch.
Clean look for Williams, rattles home. Third three of the game for Danny Williams.
Man, when it's pure, it is pure for her. That thing was high arcing, and it just tanks right into the tin.
She's got 11 now, sixth time this season in double figures for the senior, and DePaulo answers back. And there, Upper Iowa has secured the fact that this will not be their lowest scoring output of the season. And it's ripped away. Bounce up ahead to Denius. Nice recovery defense from Williams. And Natalie Denius, team's second leading scorer, is still scoreless on the night. 0 for 9 from the field for the freshman.
Sweet block by Danny. Often forgotten about in that phase of the game simply because she's so good offensively, but her speed and athleticism lets her do some things defensively as well.
Hearn skips into the paint. Upper Iowa wanted to travel, didn't get it. Klug tees up the three. Schmelzer's there offensively. Second chance stick back for the junior.
It's when she's most dangerous, off the rebound. That is the part of her game that has been finely honed.
33 points is the lead for UMary. Make it 0 for 10 from the field for Denius, just struggling to get it going from the field. Under 5 to play in the fourth. Next whistle is our final media timeout. Pull up 15-foot jumper for Williams. Give her 13 in the game, and that whistle is a timeout called by UMary. The final media timeout of the game. UMary up big. UMary up by 35 with 4:52 left in the fourth. Night's game on the BEK Broadcasting Network, brought to you by Farmers Union Insurance, Dakota Community Bank and Trust, the North Dakota Firefighters Association, and the University of Mary. Be sure to stick with us after the conclusion of this game. We give you our hashtag People First Player of the Game, presented by Choice Financial. And then it's game 2 of our doubleheader, the men's side of UMary and Upper Iowa, to follow about 20 minutes after the conclusion of this one.
Really, game 2 of our quadruple header is doesn't get a whole lot easier for Upper Iowa. They'll go up against the Minot State team tomorrow that more or less on par with Mary. They're right next to each other in the NSIC North standings. UMary one step behind the Beavers coming into play tonight. That can obviously change depending on the results of the Beavers and Warriors clash in the Magic City.
5 to shoot for the Marauders. Klug spins, has to hoist it up. And a shot clock violation whistled on the Marauders. 4:10 to go, our final timeout here tonight. 68-33 Marauders. Don't forget, all BEK Broadcasting Network produced games are available for purchase on DVD by visiting Bechtel.com/BBN. 68-33, UMary all over Upper Iowa. 4:10 to go here in the fourth quarter. And we have the men's game of this doubleheader coming up after this one, about 20 minutes after the final. Corey, what can we look forward to in that one?
It'll be interesting. I think the storyline's very much similar to this game. You have a UMary team surging at the right time, playing very, very well. The difference is that Upper Iowa's in a better spot on the men's side than they are on the women's. They have one of the best players in the conference, and so we talk about outstanding individual efforts. Upper Iowa has a chance to really showcase one both today and especially tomorrow.
Should be an exciting one. That follows the conclusion of this one. A travel is whistled on UMary. Probably one area they would like to clean up. They performed extremely well on the offensive and defensive side of the basketball, but 17 turnovers tonight. Probably a little area of concern, or at least something you want to shore up before heading into postseason here in a couple weeks.
For sure, and I think any coach will find something to harp on. That just is obviously hugely important. And it gives Coach Newman a point to really discuss with his team on a day in which they've otherwise been perfect.
That's Domeyer. She has a chance to make it a three-point play. 3.5 to play here in the fourth. UMary will make it wins in 4 of their last 5 tries and make it 3 straight games here inside the MAC. Pass deflected out of bounds, stays here with the Marauders. UMary kind of did this same thing last year where didn't start the conference schedule the way they wanted to, but hit their stride going towards the conference tournament. It didn't necessarily pay off. They lost in the first round last year in the conference tournament, but nonetheless, when you want to be hitting your stride is right around this time, and that's what they've done. For sure,
and I think part of that was the integration of the freshmen last year. Obviously, you had Hannah, which made a huge difference, but Gabby Bowl coming in, an incredible debut, as you mentioned a few times, the freshman of the year, but ultimately there was that transition process and still some of the new faces. This year there hasn't been as much in terms of integration of new players, so much as replacing old, which can happen a bit quicker. That might explain why Mary's playing well.
Amanda Cartney, the junior out of Hudson, Iowa, whistled for a travel, gives it right back to UMary after they had surrendered it away on a moving screen. Sickler into the paint. First touch of the game for Schmelzer. She drives baseline and is whistled for a charge. Back-to-back possessions. She's whistled for a foul.
So Mary's got all the non-redshirted players into the game tonight, utilizing their full bench, and those are always valuable, especially when you're the team that's up in that spot.
You love to be in that situation when you're the team that has 68 and not 35.
Right.
Courtney whistled for a travel last possession. It's a double dribble this possession. UMary tonight has forced Upper Iowa into 20 turnovers. So we talked about they had committed 17 of their own, not something you like to see, but when you can make the other team turn it over 20 times, I think that 17 is something you can live with.
For sure. Ultimately, you evaluate on margin in that regard, not total number. Still, 17 higher than they'd like. All the more dangerous when you go up against some of the quality teams, especially like Augie, who, by the way, is waiting for anybody in the NSIC tourney.
That's Courtney, her first field goal of the game.
And that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because last year, MSUM, the Dragons, were the world beaters. They were the best team in the conference. No one had any question about it until the tournament happens and they lose. And then all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, what just happened? And ultimately, it speaks to the fact that for the most part, in this league, anybody can beat anybody else in a one-game sample, and that's all that the tournament is. Overall, though, if you're the Marauders, you have to be ecstatic with this effort. We talked about the turnovers, but you did everything you need to do. And yes, this is an Upper Iowa team that is struggling, but ultimately you have to go out there and handle your business versus a team like this. They did tonight, and it could really be a launching pad game for Mary. They certainly hope so. They've got a good Warriors team coming in here tomorrow, and if they're able to sweep the weekend series once again, they really enter the conversation just like last year. All you have to do is be in the top 4. Once you do that, you're hosting a playoff game, and that is ultimately the goal for you, Mary. Once you get there, win a couple more, and you've done it.
Sickler whistled for being on the baseline, turns it over to the Peacocks. So UMary will pull within a game of 500, 10-11 overall. They'll move to 6-9 inside the NSIC. Stolen away by Klug. Under 60 seconds to go for the Marauders. Sickler got it!
The bench loses its mind.
You gotta love seeing that.
I believe it's her birthday. Her 21st birthday, she hit a 3.
And you gotta like it even more now. First time she's scored since November 18th. Why not make it on your 21st birthday, right?
It's a special way to perhaps start or end the night.
It's a whistle on Upper Iowa. Just the fourth on the Peacocks, so UMary not shooting a 1-and-1. Impressive performance both sides of the floor tonight for the Marauders. Held Upper Iowa to 38. And a bucket underneath. Schmelzer. Shot clock is dead, and the Marauders can dribble it out. 35-point win tonight for UMary, 73-38.
As dominant as they get.
Second best defensive performance of the season for the Marauders. A big-time win to start the weekend here at home. We'll be right back with our hashtag People First Player of the Game on BEK Prime. From start to finish tonight, it was all Marauders. UMary comes away with a 35-point win on top of Upper Iowa, 73-38. They improved to 6-9 in the conference. They've won now 4 of their last 5. We take a look now at our hashtag People First Player of the Game, presented by Choice Financial. People First is the heartbeat of their organization. To find out what that means, visit choicefinancialgroup.com. Fourth straight 20-point game for Cassie Askvig. The junior out of Minot has 22 points and 12 rebounds, her 6th double-double of the season. She was 10 of 14 from the field. Another impressive performance for Cassie tonight, Corey.
Yeah, she did a little everything tonight. She was as good as she's been all year, and really the face of what UMary wanted to and did do tonight, which is get a little bit of everything thrown together in one package in dominant fashion. That's what Cassie did tonight. Really, really strong performance.
She had 13 of those in the first quarter, and it was all UMary from the get-go. 35-point win, UMary on top of Upper Iowa. We'll step aside for a few minutes here, but don't forget, come right back here. Join us statewide on BEK Prime. Game 2 of our doubleheader. It's the men's side of Upper Iowa and UMary here on BEK Prime.